Okay po, nagbabalik po ang Republika at pinag-uusapan pa rin natin itong libro ni Juan Ponce Enrile, memoir. Kausap pa rin natin si Nelson Navarro, ang editor po ng libro ito. Sino ang pumili ng picture, mga pictures? Ano ba? Kayo na rin ang pumili ng mga picture?
Yeah.
Ikaw na rin?
I have a designer, very good designer who has helped me with previous biography. Si Jerry Manalili is really very good. And we work together as a team, yung small team namin. And we consulted with Senator Enrile all the way.
Ang mga pictures binigay ng mga Enrile sa inyo?
Yan, binigay siya, tapos nag-photo research din kami sa Lopez Museum. Very good source.
Okay. Ngayon, doon sa mga kabanata, the chaptering was done by, of course, based already on the manuscript.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had to do it. It's part of my job as an editor to sectionalize it to make sure that the continuity mag-flow. Kasi ang pinaka-kwan, from 2,000 pages siya na.
Okay.
It had to be cut down because there was a lot of repetition. Kasi abogado nga, di ba? Masyadong painstaking yung details. And then, isa pa is that kinu-quote niya lahat yung mga kolumnista na nagko-comment sa ginawa niya na which repeats the information that's already in his summary, in his account of the thing. And then, you know, ano mga kolumnista natin, they're kilometric.
Magsulat.
They love their words.
Okay.
They love their words pa ulit-ulit and everything like
So parang over-researched ang staff niya over these mga columns,
Yeah, over.
So that only shows to you, kompleto yung mga research.
Kompleto. Sabi ko, Manong, it impedes. It gets in the way. Parang pag binabasa ko ito, what's next? Bakit ba nadidetain ako, hostage ako ng issue na ito? You'll drop it sa inis mo. So, kailangan i-break mo yung logjam para you can flow seamlessly.
Because you're interested to know what's next.
Anong nangyari?
Parang pelikula, no?
Parang pelikula.
Parang imbis na palaging flashback, you wanted the story to continue, no?
Precisely.
Okay. Konti lang ang nakakaalam sa buhay ni Juanito Forganan. People always thought Enrile was always rich. Ano ba, what kind of a childhood did Enrile have?
You know, that's why Enrile says that writing this book was a very painful, harrowing experience. Kasi kailangan isiwalat mo lahat yung pagkatao mo na masakit. You know, like, he has to make, hindi naman niya talaga kinip secret na, kumbaga, hindi kasal yung mga magulang nila.
Love child siya.
Talagang love child siya. At saka dahil sa love child siya, hindi niya nakilala ang kanyang ama hanggang 20 anyos na siya. At dahil sa kulang nga siya ng ayuda ng isang ama at mahirap lang yung naghirap yung ina niya, kapos ang kanyang pag-aaral.
Correct me, Nelson, if this would be the right term. Kasambahay ang nanay niya? Hindi kasambahay. Hindi katulad lang ng ibang mga politiko na...
I think for Don Alfonso Ponce Enrile, who was a congressman of
Yun
his
ang
day.
tatay ho niya, si Don Alfonso.
Yeah, who was dandy, he was educated in the United States, etc.
Miss Ticilio.
Miss Ticilio lahat. Magandang nanay ni Johnny Ponce. She was a young widow.
Okay.
And she comes from a good family in Apari. Her relatives are also involved, mga mayor, mga pinsan, etc. In other words, hindi naman siya yung nasa outside of the loop talaga. In other words, kamag-anak ng mga taong may kaya din at tinitingala din.
Pero ito ano pangalan ng nanay niya?
Nanay Petra.
Petra Furaganan. Ngayon, ito si Petra Furaganan, but she belongs to that Furaganan side of the family na walang pera.
Well, hindi siya
hirap sila.
Naghirap siya nga kasi dumami yung anak niya. And then she married a fisherman, and that's why he raised Juanito. She had 3 children before Juanito, and I think 4 children after Juanito with another man. Sa karamihan ng anak mo, talagang maghihirap kayo. At yung iba makakapag-aral, yung iba hindi. Ngayon, yung iba nag-fisherman na lang, gusto mangisda, katulad ng ama nila. Si Johnny Enrile naman, nakita ng ina niya, merong posibilidad siya. Talagang kinulit siya, anak, na mag-aral ka. Pag-aaralin kita, kakausapin ko mga pinsan ko sa Apari para
makatungtong ka ng ano?
Makatungtong ka yung
pag-aaral.
In others, alam mo sa probinsya, tayo taga-probinsya, di ba? Yung mga relatives, ihahabilin mo sa mga pinsan mo, kamag-anak mo, sabi niya, o pag-aralin niyo at tutulong sa pamamahay.
Yes, correct.
So, sabi mo houseboy, pero talagang tutulong ka sa pamamahay kung binibigyan ka man ng pabor na binigyan ka ng...
May kwarto ka, may kama ka, may pagkain ka. dumaan dito sa libro base, natuto siyang mangisda.
Yes,
Oo, tapos naging manggagawa siya sa bukirin din.
Sa Bukirin.
Oo,
At saka dun sa road work.
Oo,
Yung mga kaminero.
naging kaminero pa siya. Tapos,
Nung gera, naging guerrilla siya.
tapos nung pumapasok pa raw siya sa eskwela, minsan wala siyang tsinelas.
Oo.
Nakayapak pa.
Nakayapak. But you know, I grew up in the provinces.
Okay, oo.
You know, hindi naman masamang nakayapak kasi
Oo.
wala namang tinik.
Of course, oo.
Saka walang pako, you
Oo,
know.
oo, oo.
And people, especially pag umuulan, of course, nakatapak ang mga
Oo,
tao
oo, oo,
o nakachinelas lang.
Oo, oo, oo.
I mean, you don't associate that with abject poverty
Correct.
abject poverty na payatas
Oo.
o yung mga smoky
Oo,
mountain.
oo, oo,
Hindi.
oo.
Poverty in the rural area is, you know, has its rewards.
Yes, yes.
Palagi kang nakakuha doon sa puno ng santol,
Oo, oo.
sa puno ng bayabas,
Oo.
tsaka palagi kang naliligo sa batis o
Oo.
sa river, di ba? Yung
Oo.
ganun.
And then when yung mga notes naman niya, kinukuha niya sa mga movie flyers. I think nabanggit niya yan, ano?
Oo.
So that meron siyang pang notes sa klase niya.
Mm.
And then he became a victim of injustice yata because
Yeah, well, kasi ang hirap dito, matalino siya. Tapos,
High school, ano ito? Grade school pa siya yata nito, no?
No, doon sa high school na.
High school na siya
Nung
noon,
Kanya
oo.
siya hanggang first year high school lang
Oo, oo.
Kasi pumasok siya sa Paris sa high school, masyado siyang matalino. Tapos,
Oo.
dumigas siya sa pinakamagandang babae na pala, syota pala nung
May-ari.
yung anak ng may-ari.
Ng
Di,
eskwelahan.
pinagulpi siya.
Oo.
Tapos nung pinagulpi siya na sinaksak pa siya pang duguan, siya pang in-expel kasi siya daw nagsimula ng gulo. That was his first experience in injustice. Sabi ni Senator Enrile, alam mo, kung hindi nangyari ito, ang dream ko maging engineer.
Engineer.
Hindi ako makikialam sa lahat, gusto ko lang maging engineer. Doon na buhay ang kwan ko na gusto ko maging abogado para maipagtanggol ko ang aking karapatan at ang karapatan ng mga taong inaapi.
Okay.
Doon nagsimula yon.
And then from there, natigil yata siya because pumasok ang World War II.
Yeah, oo.
Naging guerrilla. Hunters, ROTC siya.
Oo.
And the most important part of this chapter of his life is
Na-torture
siya.
Na puputulan siya ng liig ng kwan.
Nilalaro daw ng espada nung
Yeah.
Captain Nakamura yata or
Oo.
Major Nakamura yung espada sa ulo
Oo.
niya. Oo. And then na-water torture siya.
Na-water torture. Lahat yun pinagdaanan niya.
Tapos na-unconscious pa siya.
Mm-mm.
Na lalagyan ng towel ang mukha niya, tapos lalagyan ng maraming tubig,
Yeah.
tapos tatalunan pa yata yung tiyan or something,
yun.
no? Oo. And then he was able to escape.
Mm-mm.
How old was he when he finally met his father?
21. At the end of the war, may nagpasabi na, hoy, yung tatay mo, ipinatatawag ka, pumunta ka daw sa Maynila.
Oo.
Di sabi niya, well, you know, I really want to meet my father. Tsaka yung gusto niya magsapalaran kasi tapos ng gera,
Oo.
nakakahirap-hirap lahat.
Oo.
So, pumunta siya sa Maynila.
Oo.
At ang tagal niya na 2 linggo bago nakuta ang tatay niya kasi ayaw ituro sa kanya kung saan yung opisina ng tatay niya.
Oo.
At bagong akyat lang siya sa Maynila, hindi niya alam ang paglakad. So,
Oo.
sabi niya, nilakad ko from Santa Mesa to Quiapo, tapos tumawid ako ng Pasig River. Marami siyang pinuntahan bago siya nakarating sa Plaza Cervantes. Yung Plaza Cervantes, yung parang entrance to Chinatown, yun
Yes,
sa
yes. Oo.
dulo ng eskolta. Tapos nakita yung edificio Soriano.
Oo.
Sabi niya, doon ang opisina ng tatay mo. The first time he encountered an elevator.
Yun nga, I
in
was
his
about to say
life.
that. Okay, and then sige, tuloy mo, ikaw na magkwento. Oo.
Hindi niya malam kung papasok siya,
Oo.
kung paano siya lalabas.
Nagtataka siya, bakit daw yung mga tao, parang may mga numero, no?
May mga numero.
Oo.
So eventually, he got to the 7th floor and he presented his name and he said, maghintay ka. And maghintay ka doon. Pag mamaya may dumating na isang matanda
Oo.
na tiningnan siya
Oo.
at niyapusan siya at sinabing, you know, I'm sorry, my son.
Oo.
Doon nagkaroon ng closure ang buhay niya.
Oo.
In fact, John Enrile tells me that's the most important time of his life, the turning point.
Oo.
Because yung Juanito Furuganan adopted a new life, became another person. He became first Juan Ponce,
Oo.
and eventually Juan Ponce Enrile. So natapos yung period ng life niya doon sa pagkikita niya. And dinala siya ng father niya sa bago niyang kinakasama na pamilya
Oo.
na si Purita Liwanag,
Oo.
Ponce Enrile, na ina naman ni Armida.
Ay, ito ang nakakatawa
Ate Irma.
ngayon, no? Pakibanggit lang, he was 21 years old, but third year high school.
No, he was first year Enrolled siya sa third year.
Oo.
Wala, so he had
Kasi,
to
pero
be
21 years
yeah,
old siya, no?
21,
No? Can
oo.
you imagine, no? Mga nakikinig, no? 21 years old, magta-third year for
Yeah.
validation exam, no?
Ang tangkad-tangkad niya, siya ang mga classmates niya, mga bata.
Okay, oo.
Pero pinagtiisan niya yon. The Marinol sisters
Okay.
really tutored him to...
Oo.
He was so good that he passed he was able to have his high school accredited.
2 exams, no?
Yeah, 2 exams.
Oo.
And then pumasok siya sa Ateneo.
Ateneo pala siya.
Ateneo
Okay.
sa kanyang pre-law.
Oo, oo.
And then he went to UP because it was the best law school in the country.
Oo.
Naturally.
Oo.
Nagpunta siya sa
Okay.
UP. And you know, classmate niya si Paeng Salas.
Yes, yes, oo.
Mas mataas ang grade niya.
Kay
Parang
Paeng-
sila ko mas mataas siya ang kwan.
Mas mataas ang grado niya kay
Kaya
Paeng Salas.
Mas mataas ang kwan
Oo.
niya. Salutatorian siya ng klase eh.
Oo,
Si
oo.
Paeng yata was 3rd or 4th.
Oo.
And then sa bar, sabi niya,
Number 11 siya.
yun ang malas.
Oo, oo.
Kasi everybody top 10.
Okay.
Pag kung ka, kumbaga, naging Miss Visayas ka,
Oo.
hindi ka naging Miss Philippines,
Oo.
kailangan number 1 ka or at least within the top 10.
Oo.
Number 11 siya, dinamdam niya yon.
Okay.
But, you know, such are the facts. You know, 90.54 ang score niya,
Konti na lang.
konti na lang, number 11 pa rin siya. But what happened next was that he applied for a scholarship to Harvard.
Ngayon, ito ang tanong ko. In my reading of the books, mas matalino siya kay Paeng, pero napansin ko, parang malapit na palapit siya kay Paeng Salas. They had this certain kind of affinity na parang he looked up to him.
Yeah.
In fact, the way he described Paeng Salas is that Paeng Salas could have been
President.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kandidato niya pagka-presidente.
Si Paeng talaga right from the start was very political oriented. Enrile was not.
Ilonggo, no? Ilonggo si Paeng
Ilonggo,
Salas.
oo.
Oo.
But kasi si Enrile then only son eh.
Mm-mm.
And Johnny also considered them also. They became brothers,
Okay.
closer than brothers.
Oo.
And Paeng was always, you know, active in politics, in UP politics.
Oo.
And he also campaigned for Magsaysay.
Oo.
Johnny Enrile was focused on his studies.
Oo.
But eventually, when Salas became involved with the presidential campaign of Marcos in
Oo.
1964-65, kinuha siya. And then, akala niya na magiging abogado lang siya ni Marcos sa ginuhit ng tadhana case, di ba? As far as concerned, it was that movie that made Marcos president. Kasi before that, wala si Marcos and then suddenly nag-change yung tide
Oo.
and naging presidente. Akala niya babalik siya sa law practice, pero Marcos pala had other plans.
Wala talagang plano pumasok sana si Enrile sa ano, no?
Wala,
Sa politika. Oo.
Or even join the administration. He was a very successful lawyer.
Correct.
Mayaman na si Enrile nung sumali siya ng kwan. He was a corporate lawyer.
Oo. And then nga pala, nag-Harvard nga pala siya. Hindi natin na-tackle yan,
Yeah,
ano?
nag-Harvard siya after UP.
Oo.
When he majored in corporation and tax.
Okay. Oo.
Yung mga income tax. So, he was one of the experts in that field. Ang mga kliyente niya, the biggest corporations from San Miguel down the line.
Oo, pati mga Sobel yata, nadaanan niya rin.
Yeah, he was a lawyer also for Ayala. That's why si Johnny, his first home was in Philam Life Homes.
Okay.
And then he moved on to Urdaneta.
Oo.
And eventually to the newer one, which is Dasmariñas, where he now lives.
Yung first break ni Senator Enrile sa gobyerno was yung customs na, no?
Yeah.
Doon siya nabigyan ng break.
Oo.
Nung tinanggap
He
niya
was-
or Undersecretary for Finance pala.
Yeah, and he was assigned Commissioner of Customs.
Oo.
He was called Mr. Clean.
Okay.
Kasi he fought the sindicato, di ba, in that one.
Marami siyang mga kinalabang mga smuggler sa kuan.
Magda. Yeah, well, kalaan.
Oo.
It's a who's who of kwan.
Oo,
Lahat
oo.
ng mga kwan, kinalaban niya ni Enrile. And later on, as a Secretary of Justice, siya din yung Banjo Laurel eh.
Oh yes, yung Banjo Laurel nandun din. Oo.
Oo.
Nasa libro yan, yung Lino Bukalan, and then
Yes,
sino pa? Pati yung mayor dati ng Makati, nandiyan
Yes,
rin.
the Mesyo Yabot.
Nandyan rin, oo.
Nandyan din, oo.
Oo, so, and then he had also problems with some senators.
Yes, Almendras.
Oo.
Landing Almendras.
Oo.
Kasi nung lawyer siya ng United Fruit na gusto magtatag, before the Florendos
Oo.
got into the banana business, there were an earlier group that wanted to go in.
Oo.
And then, of course, this was the period of nationalism.
Oo.
Binanatan actually si Enrile ni Landing Almendas
Yes,
na,
yes.
bakit katutan ng kano? Bakit kinakon mo na gustong gawing plantation ang Pilipinas? Doon siya nasaktan siya doon.
Oo.
Kasi ang feeling niya is that there's nothing wrong with foreign investments in our country, provided we also provide, safety nets and safeguards.
Oo.
Yung this thing of sort of like across the board, opposition to foreign investments, mali din naman yun.
Tatlong mga cabinet positions ang na-occupy ni Senator Enrile: Justice, Defense, and Finance. Well-rounded ang ano niya,
Oh,
no?
yeah. Well,
Very, nag-acting finance kasi siya eh.
yeah, very briefly yung finance.
Oo.
But his one was justice. And then, eventually, D&D.
Defense, no?
Kasi D&D niya is from around 1971, just
Okay.
before martial law, and throughout the whole period of martial law.
Okay. We have about more or less 4 minutes left. Two important questions the public would like to know. Does this book expose who was the killer of Ninoy?
It doesn't.
It does not.
But it gives, I think, more leads than you would,
Ganun
than
ba?
you have, that have been available so far.
Okay.
It asks certain questions, at saka tingnan nyo yung sequence of events.
Okay.
Na kasi tinanong ko
Pero
siya.
Nelson, sa manuscript niya, ganun din ba?
Ganon, oo.
Talaga?
You know, Enrile is a lawyer. You will
Okay.
never catch him. You
Okay.
know? You will never catch him with libel or
Oo.
you know yung mga kailangan sa kanya kung isinulat niya, kailangan mapapanindigan niya.
Okay.
Kasi alam niya, hihimayin niya ng lahat. Pag
Okay.
nakakita sila ng butas sa libro niya, sabi ito, malaking kasinungalingan, ito, labag sa batas, he expects na they will bring him down.
Okay. So, in short, merong clues kung sino pumatay
Oh,
kay
yeah.
Ninoy. Kay Ninoy. Okay. Would it be fair to say na yung mga clues that point to a suspect who killed Ninoy, yun din ang may planong, di ba, binanggit niya, pagkatapos kay Ninoy, siya ang susunod na papatayin sana eh.
Oh, well, there were warnings conveyed
Diba?
to him. Oh.
Oo. How many warnings? 3 yata, no?
Tatlo.
3 warnings, no? Sa duda niya, sino din sana ang papapatay
Yeah.
sa kanya?
I mean, it's safe
What
to
does the
say,
book say?
it's safe to say that wala siyang smoking gun.
Okay, wala na.
Hindi niya alam na conjecture niya
Okay.
at saka hearsay. But Enrile being Enrile in the center of events, ang kanyang conjecture at hearsay niya mas based on facts
Facts, oo.
than that kwan. So kung mapapagdugtong-dugtong mo yung mga leads at saka makukuha mo. Definitely.
Okay. So it would be fair to say for the public, pag nabasa nila yung libro, kung sino yung nagpatay kay Ninoy, yun din ang may planong pumatay sa kanya.
Yes.
Okay, at least galing sa editor yan. At least malinaw yan, ano?
Yeah, it would seem like that.
Okay.
Kasi parang I think kung look at this scenario, no?
Okay.
The what if Ninoy had not been killed or he was able to get out of the tarmac,
Oo.
what do you think would have happened?
Oo.
Could you not foresee, is it outside the realm of possibility
Magkakagulo talaga.
well, magkakagulo, but could you see Enrile and Ninoy actually being brought together by a confluence of
Okay.
forces, di ba? It's one of the big ifs eh. Kanya, whoever is responsible for getting rid of Ninoy must be one man who
Okay.
precisely was preventing Enrile from connecting with Ninoy.
2 short questions. I haven't reached that part of the book yet kasi nasa 280 pa ako, no? And I still about 500 to go. In the original plan of RAM with Senator Enrile, huhulihin sana nila si Marcos sa Malacanang.
Yahuli nila.
Talagang dadakpin nila, no?
Dadakpin nila.
Oo,
Pero
no?
hindi nila papatayin.
Oo.
I think they wanted to put him on trial.
Okay.
Very specific instructions not to
Not
kill.
to harm him.
Not to harm him.
And then, when there were indications na parang nalaman ni Marcos na parang nagbi-build up ng arms ang Ministry of National Defense, he resigned, no? Pero pinigilan siya ni Marcos na mag-resign.
No, that is going back even before the assassination,
Okay.
July.
Oo, mga
Kasi wala nang-
1983 na yun, no?
July 1983. 1 month later, Ninoy arrived and everything changed. But alam ni Enrile na wala na sila ni Ramos.
Okay.
Kinapon na sila. So, sabi ni Enrile, let's go to Ramos and just resign and tell him he can have his way. Enrile actually said he typed a letter of resignation and gave it to Marcos.
In this book, si Ramos inimbita lang ni
Yes.
Enrile, no?
Si Ramos hindi kasali sa
Hindi kasama
original
sa plano
RAM.
talaga, no?
Sa RAM. Nung day na mismo, February 22, sinabi niya, Eddie, are you with us? Will you join us? Sabi niya, I'll think about it.
Oo.
And I will call you. So, dumating si Ramos 6:30 in the evening.
How would you call that in Tagalog?
Siyempre, nag-iisip din yung tao.
What I mean is parang napasama lang. Parang ganun.
No, hindi na pasama. I think pinag-isipan. Kasi alam mo, kung
Okay.
hindi talaga leaning si General Ramos towards that direction,
Okay.
it would have easy for him to say, ay, nako, ayaw ng asawa ko, or
Final question, Nelson. Very important. in this book lalabas ba na kung na-assassinate si Senator Enrile, there would have been a military junta? I haven't reached that part of the that book. Would there have been a military junta if the assassination would have succeeded? If that lady did not warn him of that assassination plot against him?
Well, clearly, that would have been the logical development because the hand of Marcos and the people backing up Marcos would have a stronger hand. Because it was in really bringing it to fore with Ramos that assembled together the People Power Coalition.
Pero kung wala yung People Power, na-assassinate si Enrile, it would have been a military junta.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With Imelda put to the side, no? Post-Marcos scenario na ito, no?
Yung scenario na kinakuha, yun most likely, magiging Nicaragua tayo, you know.
Okay. Well, wala na po tayong panahon. At least we were able to touch and I'm very happy na pinaunlakan tayo ni Nelson A. Navarro. Siya po yung nagsusulat muli sa Philippine Star and we're very glad that his voice will again be heard in the national scene. We miss his voice. He's very important. Wika nga kailangan madagdagan at madinig muli natin ang tinig ni Nelson Navarro dito po sa ating bansa dahil we miss this guy. He used to appear on TV and dapat naman madinig uli natin siya. Thank you very much, Nelson.
Thank you very much for having me.
And meron pa siyang, pag nag-edit ulit ito kay Gringo Hunasan, kukunin ulit natin ito.
It's Greg Hunasan who will decide that.
Okay. Well, anyway, marami pong salamat, Nelson. At ito po si Erik Espina, palagi po nagsasabi sa inyong magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan. Sapagkat wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, maayong gabi, kaninyong tarang.